In today's video, I'm going to be quickly running over how I made my medieval themed flash helmet. You see the pictures above, and this is what we're going to create. Let's go. So what I'm going to be doing to strengthen up the helmet itself is be taking some of this stuff. Now, if you've watched my videos before, you'll know this is one of my favourite materials. It's called Plenty Duracloth. It's available in the UK, I don't know about other countries. This stuff, it's made for heavy duty cleaning work basically, but it's really, really strong. Really hard to tear. Really, really bulky stuff. And it's great when you use it with some PVA glue or wood glue. It gives a nice, very, very strong, very solid finish. I like to call it poor man's fiberglass because it costs a lot less and it's a lot less likely to give you cancer. So what you're going to do with this stuff is cut up a bunch of squares of it, and then if you just tear it or squeeze it really, really hard in your hands and pull it, it takes the texture out of it, and then you're ended up with just nice flat pieces. And then all we're going to do is some basic paper mache, and we're just going to pick a spot, start pasting. Continue until the helmet's covered. Alright, we'll jump back when I've got this done. So here we see, I've completely covered the helmet all the way around in just one layer of tissue. What I'm going to do is let this dry, and then I'm going to start doing the scales. So what I'm going to do to make the scales on this piece is a bit different from what I normally do. I'm going to cut out lots of long strips and I'm going to layer them to create this step down effect. But before I paste each one on, I'm going to fold under one edge. This way, whenever I paste it onto the helmet, this edge will stay thicker and it will stand out like scales lying on top of each other, much like I do with the other scaled effect I go for with dragon scales. And when I layer these up all the way down the back, it should look like plated armor along the back of the helmet. This is very cheap, very effective, very quick, and a hell of a lot easier than using actual metal. So here we have the helmet done with the detail the way I want it. Nice and dry, rock solid. So what we want to do next is get some acrylic paint, just typical cheap acrylic paint. I'm going to go with a black undercoat. You want to water down it for a bit, and the water will soak into the tissue and it will help to cover it. So you want to cover the whole thing in your black paint. Just get it all in there. Give the helmet a nice base coat. Alright, we'll cut back at the end when I've got this finished. So, once you have all that done, you'll have your original helmet, but completely black. So, it's not a lot to see right now. The black is sort of hiding the details that I was going for. If I can get in the light there, yeah. So, once we have it to this stage, we're ready to think about the actual paint job. So, I'm going for a medieval flash. So, obviously the paint job is going to be red, and I like to highlight metal things using gilding cream. Before I paint anything, I like to do up a sample piece so that I know roughly what I'm going to end up with, because if I were to paint this horribly, I know that personally I'm very susceptible to being demoralized and I might not finish it. So what I did is, as I was doing this, I made up a little sample piece, and this is just done with a scrap piece of foam I had lying around. As I was making the original, I just layered this up, and I did the red on it, I did the black, I did the red, and then I did the gilding cream just on the tips of the folds where they came in to make it look like the armor's maybe been scratched off because it's been used for a long time and all that, and I'm really happy with it. I think it turned out really well, and so what we're going to do next is I'm going to replicate this paint effect on the actual helmet itself. So this is just some red spray paint, and then over the top with some gilding cream. I'll show you the gilding cream again once I get to that stage. We'll jump back once I have the helmet spray painted. So now what we're going to do is get this metal tipped effect on the edge of the helmet. And to do that I'm using this stuff. It's just rub and buff or gilt cream depending on where you are, and this is tarnished silver. And I like to have a scrap handy. It's really easy to use. What you want to do is just get a little bit on the edge. You'll see it comes off in a little bright spot. Now you don't want to rub that right on because it will be way too bright, so you want to just shine a bit out of it. And you have it on the edge of this, and you just take it down to the edge and just rub it on. You usually have enough left over for a few goes at the edge of the helmet. And I like this because I feel like it just adds a bit of depth to the helmet and helps show off the detail that I've spent all that time doing. And be really careful that no flakes of the gilt cream fall onto this or whatever you're making, because if you try to brush it off it'll just smudge and you'll have a bright spot on your helmet forever, and there's no getting it out. So I'm going to do this now to the rest of the helmet, right the way up to the top here, and I'll show you guys the progress when it's done. So here we are. As you see, I have taken the rub and buff and added some depth and texture to the back of the scales. I feel like this really adds a nice element to it, makes it look like it might actually be tipped with metal. And yeah, I'm very happy with that outcome. So what I want to get ready to do next now is make some armor panels that are going to be bolted on here. And this is what you can see I've started down here. These are just made from typical 2mm craft foam. I've redrawn the template that was used to make the original pieces, and I just got a basic stencil online for a Pegasus or a flying horse, whatever you want, which I've cut into the foam. So what I'm going to have to do with these is coat them in one coat of glue and then one coat of acrylic paint to make them black, and then I'm just going to hot glue them straight onto the front of the helmet, and that's going to add another layer of depth to the helmet and make it look a bit more real. So these have very easily been cut out and stenciled in. They're ready to go as soon as I coat them. So I'm going to glue coat these, and then I'm going to cover them in black acrylic paint. I've also made some accents for the side of the helmet. I based these on J. Garrick because I wanted to go a little bit more old school. And what I have to do with these is I gotta cut a score in these lines, and then, as I don't actually own a heat gun myself, I'm going to set my oven to its highest setting. I'm going to place these on some aluminum foil, and I'm just going to put them in the oven, and I'm going to watch them until the lines have split to the point I want. This is a good way to do this if you don't have a heat gun. So we'll jump back when I've done all this, and I'll show you guys the progress in the next step. And there you'll see these have opened up and the lines are nice and solid and permanent. So what I'm going to use to colour these is, I've actually went with brass rub and buff, and this is used exactly the same as the silver. I'm going to show you. Take a little bit of scrap tissue or something, just rub it on there, and just go to your piece and just rub in little circles until you've covered the whole thing. And it's as easy as that. That's how you rub them. But I'm just going to make sure I do the sides, and then we can do the front parts. Now I'm going to do both of these, and then I'm going to cover them both with a layer of clear gloss or varnish matte, and that'll seal it in and stop it from peeling off or rubbing off on your helmet. And there we have everything painted black. So the next step is to go ahead, and I'm going to get some hot glue, and I'm just going to glue in lines along the back and glue it onto the back of the helmet as we go along. And once it's on, I'm going to do the rub and buff on the whole piece. You'll see I've did a test here just to make sure that the rub and buff goes on nicely, and I always like to do a little test piece instead of doing the whole thing, realizing it doesn't work and then having to bend the entire thing. So now we're just going to get the helmet, and we're going to go about putting these in place. That'll be around there. So I will go and glue this, and then I will show you guys how it looks when the black pieces are on. So here we'll have it with the armoured panels glued on. You can see the patch here where I tested the rub and buff to see how it was going to look. I'm pretty happy with it overall. You can see the Pegasus stencils coming out nicely. It's all lined up, and I'm ready to start rubbing buffing all these black pieces. I'm just going to do this the exact same way you've seen me show you how to rub and buff before, and then I'm going to seal it with some clear matte varnish, and I'll show you guys as soon as that's done. Be right back. And here we go. There it is after being completely rub and buffed and then clear coated. And the reason you do the clear coat is that although rub and buff is sort of self-sealing, if you hit against it hard enough, it will rub off. So it's always good to just give it a quick coat of clear matte varnish, and that just seals it in and makes it nice and well solid and doesn't let it go anywhere. You can see the Pegasus stencils have come up really nice there. I'm really happy with that. The wings, again, J. Garrick inspired, because I thought it harkened back to the old-fashioned flesh. And let's face it, this is about as old-fashioned as you can get, unless I do a caveman flesh. I think it really subtly hints at being a flesh helmet without being too in your face about it. I think I would have to make a full suit of armour with the symbol in the chest to really give away what this is, but you know, I'm happy with it. This was done with zero budget. It was just scraps of things I had left over. I'm about to move house, and I had a lot of stuff I don't want to take with me, like scraps of foam and old materials, and I just cobbled them together to make this. The original template helmet was a freely available paper cura file. I can't remember what it was, I'm so sorry. But just look for medieval paper cura helmets, I'm sure you can find the base for it. And I've sort of just customized it myself as I went along, as you've seen. So here we are. I'm really happy with it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have any hints or suggestions for anything that you may want to see me make or give a medieval spin on, please let me know. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.